Gundam.tk presents High Grade M1 Astray. Hey again everybody, it's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs from GundamReviews.net, and in the tradition of grunt suits dating back all the way to First Gundam, it's time to take a look at Gundam Seed, which had a pretty good mix there for the three sides in terms of their grunts. Anyway, you've seen everything for the M1 Astray, from the unbox to the parts to the actual mobile suit, but anyway, here's the best and the worst of it that I could pick out so that you can make your own call whether you want to pick this up for yourself. So to kick things off with the negatives, well, the back is looking pretty cool, but remember, a lot of those things are coming from seals, and that was probably my biggest disappointment from the unbox, was just seeing the number of seals that go into it. However, the vast majority are on the back, so it's probably something that you can get past here, but when you've got nice gray parts up here, you can't help but wonder if they just couldn't add on a couple more gray parts down there, for both the round thrusters and for the larger thrusters down below, but then again, you're not really going to see it. In terms of posability, the ankles aren't going to move off to the side as much as you'd like, and overall the legs just sort of bring up an issue in terms of the line, where you've got a very good combination of deep channels and some very narrow ridges, some very shallow ridges, so you're not really going to have the opportunity to line up against them and edge it very much, unless you really want to go in there with some nice thin ink and you've got a good hand in terms of doing that. Moving up though, the hips are not going to move that far off to the side, but they are going to do a good job forward and back. Waist section a little bit plain, and overall, just when you take a look at these anti-ship swords, it's a fantastic thing that they added it in as a bonus. However, when you take a look at the ones on the side of the box, they're going to have different colored hilts and colors going up the sides. They do give you the possibility with the raised parts there that you can go and paint that up pretty easily with some taping. But anyway, it's just not going to look as good out of the box as you'd see on the actual packaging itself, which is of course to be expected with a high grade. As you move up there, the arms are going to give you all the posability that you need, although they're going to look a little bit simple from the front. They do offer you seals though that you can fix that up with. And on the back, I just sort of wish though that the thrusters, you've got these parts built in here on the top and they're not really going to move, and you've got to put them in the right way and everything like that. They're also a little bit plain on the inside, but with the bottom thrusters you've got mobility. They just sort of forgot to do it with the top, and I think that they could have just made it a little bit more dynamic as it whooshes on an aerial pose from one side to the other, that you could just have all of the thrusters moving accordingly, sort of crossbone style, which is certainly one of the best uses of that X kind of backpack. The head itself also, if you're not going to go into the trouble of putting on, I just used a little bit of black marker there, and so that really helped bring it alive. But in terms of the other colors that should be applied onto a frame, this one just seems to be like it's missing out on a couple, but it does have some very good lining opportunities. So overall, there definitely are some negatives, starting with the seals and ending with the lack of lining. But overall, this is something that after a 10-year wait certainly has a lot of positives, because the technology you can imagine this made 10 years ago would not have had all of these pluses. There's a lot of them, just starting with the whole concept of the frame itself, where you've got that cool looking suit. This pays homage very well to the red frame, of course, that it was developed from, and it's just looking great with all the red details around. I was very surprised to get those thrusters there on the back of the knee. That's the kind of thing that a few years ago, practically unimaginable. And you've just got all sorts of, it's simple the legs, it's simple the arms, and yet it looks great when it's all put together. Combine that with the complexity of the chest, where it was just a treat to put it all together there. We've got the red parts on the inside. I wonder how they did the shoulders. It's just simple polycaps that are going to give you mobility popping out, but you're going to have the red parts that fit on, and I wondered if they were going to fall off because they don't seem to fit on there all that well. Haven't had a single problem there. And then when you move on to the thrusters, they're just designed to sit at such a good angle there that even though you can't move them, you're not really going to have too many complaints about that. And the fact that they gave you a gray piece of plastic there is a bonus, and I think you're better off with the seals there than not, and it's nice to have the three colors there on the back of this guy. In terms of the actual weapons themselves, the beam rifle, yes, it's plain, but it does the job, and it's not really going to stand out because your eyes are going to go to that shield. Because despite the fact I didn't include this in the negatives, because I'm actually quite happy with the way those red seals fit on there. The big black part and the white part, it's got lots of details on the inside, even though you're not going to have all the moving features like you would with a master grade. But the red seals, I think if you put them on, you're going to have to do it carefully and use a Q-tip or something just to get them down properly. But anyway, I've had no complaints about them since I put them on, if you can get past the fact that in the obvious places it is going to curl up on occasion. The head, even though it is simple in terms of colors right out of the box, if you put in a little bit of work or you want to use the decals, it's going to work out. And then moving on to the other accessories, the fact that you're going to get 2 extra manipulators, small but convincing bonus because you've got 2 different swords that you can put in the regular hand. You've got the shooting hand and you've got the angry fist there if you do want to use a dynamic pose there with the left hand. The beam sabers are sort of small, but that's really the way that they should be. And overall, just looking at the colors, the posability, this is the kind of thing. I've seen the old advanced grade red frame in detail quite a few times. You may have seen it almost get a box dropped on it once or twice. But I've never seen the high-grade red frame up close, so anyway, I'd love to hear from you how you think it stacks up. But I just imagine that the chest details and the arms and the shoulders, it's probably just wouldn't be there, or if it is, maybe it doesn't have the same posability. So anyway, anybody who has built that, please help people out with a comment down below in comparison. But overall, you can guess that with all of these cool colors, combos, and play options, this kit is going to get a positive thumbs up from me. I remember that I bought this kit more or less because I like the characters of the girls that were the test pilots, both in the actual spin-off manga, Astray, and in the actual anime itself. And I'm always a big fan, especially of these 3-team test teams and stuff like that. But having put this kit together, you almost forget about the characters itself because the build itself is interesting, the colors are interesting, the extras are interesting, and it's just a solid kit that's obviously showing its 2012 engineering. And for that, it's certainly a plus in my books. In terms of future speculation, well, we had a long wait for this one to come out in the first place in high grade. I don't imagine we'd ever see this in any other grades. 1/100th Seed seems to be dead unless they're doing another spin-off, Astrays X versus something or other. So I don't expect we'd get anything other than this, and in terms of that, if you wanted to buy a team and you took your 3 action bases, they're the proper ones that are going to attach together, the action base 2s, I think that you can set this up and have a very good memorial to those unfortunate pilots, though. That certainly brought a smile to a lot of people's faces. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think both of the characters of the mobile suit of the anime and its appearance there, how about in the manga, and of course what you think of these videos and my verdict. Agree or disagree, please let people know with a comment down below so that they can get more than just my opinion. Always appreciated. Anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for watching and stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. See you next time, everybody. Bye. Dad? Is that you?